Hello, this is the develop branch for 0.2.0.4, the Armour one. So it took a little bit of time, but I made quite a bit of a breakthrough in something further along the lines to do with expanding the equipment widget and the equipment slots. So I will discuss a few like tertiary elements, but mainly I'll keep this branch focused to just these elements for the most part. So the first bit, so creating the item, easy enough really. I created a couple of values here to go through, like the armor quality, the protection. The protection is 25% of the quality. The decay rate, decay chance, I haven't implemented these yet. These are just in. Currently it's just a flat armor drain of 3 every single time you have armor above 0, until the armor reaches 0, and then it's just nothing because your armor's like ineffective. Damage type's not done that yet. There's a few extra elements, like the counter's just a placeholder for what I was doing here, where I was getting it to trigger impact, saying how, just logging the statistics sort of thing. I printed them so I could see in real time. So that's not needed now. In terms of what it does, this is based off of a master equipment blueprint. So that already works like items, pickups, drop-offs, dumps it into inventory, drops it into your equipment slot, stuff like that. That already kind of works, that side of it. This item specifically, I've set it up so event begin play is triggered when you collect it. At least I'm sure it is. Yeah, because it's not triggered. It's not triggered until I collect it. The things don't pop up. So even though it's event begin play, technically begin play happens on collection. So I initialize it. So random integer between 0 and 10, and technically that should be like 0 and 9. I'll do it. Change that now. If it's greater than 6, so what that's, I don't know, 7, 8, 9. So if it's greater than that, I flag it as new, and then I feed it as new, feed that value as new into initializing the values, and then if it is new, then I do a flat rate of 100 divided by 4, don't need that anymore, divided by 4 for the protection rate, flat rate of 3, and that chance, ignore them for the moment. And if it's not new, then the armor is a range of that. So like at least a little bit of armor, like a very small amount to really high, same sort of denomination range, but it's not new, so it's not 100. Same again, divided by 4, feeds that through. So initialize the usage, is it new or old? Initialize the values. Print string, is it new or old? That's just for testing. Update the protagonist values, because on collection, the protagonist has a new armor quality value, an armor protection value, and then just the drain is a flat 3, and then quality. You'll notice them two are the same. That's because I have the new armor value to appear and then disappear after I think 2 or 3 seconds, just to flag an animation prompt. So like it greater than, less than. So if the new armor value is greater than the current armor value, that's an increase. If the new armor value is lower than the current armor value, that is a decrease. And you see that's logic. That goes into here. I played around with this a few different places. Should I put the animation in like Shall I stick it in here? Which this definitely needs tidying up. This is just on tick because this is just like health, stamina, stress, infection. Technically could be on tick because if you're constantly getting attacked, but then again I should really just get it to work on when you're attacked, when you're getting infection, when you're getting stress, when you're using stamina. So definitely something to improve on. Put it there. It just felt like it was just a bit long-winded, so I've stuck it in here instead. So there's an increase in armor animation that triggers when this is done, and it plays for 2 goes, and it does this. I'll show you all in the game as well. It does. Oh, is it going to put? Oh, I need to play. Okay. It does that, and then decreasing is that nothing. This is a complete disaster. This little widget setup. I think this was the first thing I ever did on my own outside of the tutorials. Believe me, it doesn't stay that far out. I need to completely reorder it with like vertical and horizontal. Is it size? It's not size boxes, is it? Vertical and horizontal boxes, and probably a size box, and just get it tidied up. So that's that. That triggers that animation. Before I play it, I will. So you see, it updates these values, which is great. But then what happens when you get attacked? The damage system currently just comes off your health. So then I've expanded this. So moving on to the next step, this is the main character's blueprint. When you get any damage, if you're not dead, that's like it was before. If your armor is greater than 0, update armor. Update armor is, as you can see here, so current armor divided by, has to be divided by 400. This is very much a version 1. I could tidy all this up. So divided by 100 makes 0.25 because I'm doing a times. So damage times 0.25 is essentially divided by 4 because I'm timesing it by a quarter of itself. So that's the armor protection value. That feeds into here. The gross damage divided times by a quarter, so it's cut into 4. Knock off a fourth and do that as the damage that's been negated, and then the remaining 3/4 goes into net damage. So we've essentially just ultimate peak scenario, full armor, full 25% protection, skim off exactly 25% of the gross damage, leaving 75% of the gross damage to then become the net damage. 25% disappears, and -3 comes off the armor on the armor drain, if you remember. So like that. Obviously, if that was 99 divided by 400, that would be a different percentage value, which would then be a different net percentage value. So it's very dynamic. That's that. That pumps out the net damage. Net damage becomes a variable called damage. That is then put here, and then update armor master. This needs renaming. This is the sprite changer for that status bar. So you see there's different sprites. If you look on the bottom left, you can see full, 80 to 100, 80 to 6, technically 60 to 80, 60 to 40, 40 to 20, 20 to nothing, and nothing. So that's the update process. So that feeds into there. So that updates the widget. So you see a visual change. You then get a thing saying you've taken X amount of damage. This again is just to track it. Then this is updated. Instead of it going straight, what technically we're now calling the gross damage, the damage straight from any damage from the enemies. That used to go there. Now it is the damage variable. If you have armor, net damage is your damage. So skims maximum 25% off. If you don't have armor, then your damage is just the gross damage, 100% of the damage. Current health greater than 0. Then we set current health to be current health minus the damage, so gross or net damage regarding depending on armor. Maximum health, minimum health. That then becomes the new current health, and then I just call it. This is just as it was before, so I call it to the game instance. So then game instance can feed it and it logs it. So when you change between levels, it logs it between instances of things. Then we have an element here, which am I currently using? I don't think I'm currently using it anymore. It is. I will be using it somewhere. This is I called it delta. It's essentially just the delay. Oh, it's equipment. It's equipped in the armor. Yeah, the delay between when you unequipped it and when it knocks off the alter zeros, and then it bumps it upwards. So I realise I should really be highlighting all these things I'm talking about on the right. So let's keep going on the top one. So it goes through here. I think that's done for this bit, the armor bar. So let's go to the armor bar, which is just this silly little thing. Go to the graph. So you've already got the sprite updater. So this, you've already seen this. We have I'm not actually using any of these. It was to simplify it, but it's just not needed now. It essentially crashed it, and I thought, like, it works for now. It's a version 1. Version 1 is very much get up and running, so it's alright for now. So that's that. That is, it's very straightforward, to be honest. In the armor bar thing, it just tracks values and then it looks at the differences and then that's its values. So then the armor value is currently current armor and new armor, and that pumps it in. Honestly, I don't even think I'm using that anymore because I've simplified it, but I won't delete it just in case I need it. Fixed a bug with pause, so you pause the game but you could still hear the enemies, which meant the enemies were still moving because the AI was still working. So why do I just show you? Only takes a second. Conscious, I haven't actually played it yet, but you can always speed it up if you're looking for it. Wrong one. Here, was it here? Was it here? It's not here. Did I pause it actually in here? Sorry, this is it's been a little while since I've done this branch because it's the weekend, so I'm actually halfway through another branch. Essentially, it's fixed. It actually pauses now. I just can't remember where I've put the pause. It should be somewhere in that main menu widget. I'm just missing it. I'm just cracking up. Backwall adjustments, yeah, some of them you could see the space just depending on how you looked. Tiny things. Create armor functionality. Right, so let me show you what's happening. Let's play it. Okay, so let me pause it and explain. So that is just a random enemy. I put them in the room, partly because I've broken the transition so it doesn't log the slots, what's in your weapon and armor slot here, in the thing anymore. And so, let's see if I can pop that back in. There we go. So yeah, I put the enemy in the room. What we're going to do is, we are going to, that's definitely a bug. We shouldn't be able to do that. We are going to put the armor in, which we have done. You know what we'll do? We'll try and force it to get full armor. Come on. No, it's still not right. We want 100%, don't we? We want it all the way up. Full. Right, so that is 100%. So what you're going to see here is when the enemy attacks me on the left, you are going to see the damage we've taken, the damage that's been negated, and you will see as the armor runs to 0, it'll just say 3 damage taken, 3 damage taken. So we'll do it on full. I'll die, I'll redo it, we'll do it on like half armor, and then that way the armor will run out before my health runs out. So here we go. Danger. There you go. At the top, you see it said 3, and everything else was a range. So I'll do it one more time. Oh, we don't want full armor. That'll do. So you see, it won't be 25% on the top left now. It will be a 4. It'll be divided by 4. And there we go. So that perfect armor saves you 25%, and then obviously it degrades. So that is the armor branch. Going into a little bit of the widget, explaining things and how it equips. I have made a proper long-winded way of this, but I only realised it was long-winded after I got it working, and then I could simplify it now. We used to have equipped item and unequipped item, right? All fine. Now we've got unequipped item, unequipped weapon, because technically you're only equipped in weapons and equipment, aren't you? Weapons and armor and accessories. You're not equipped in anything else. So now we've got weapon. When you go to use something to equip it, I've created a slot, an array of the master equipment, and these are all the weapons currently. Technically, only those 2 are in existence. I've just logged them as like placeholders. So if I put any of these weapons, any of these equipment items into the weapon slot, or any of those slots, it will push it to the weapon slot. Same again, and then if I take it out, it'll skim it out, it dumps it to the game instance with all the details, because you can't dump a object, so you need to strip it, get the class, strip everything, and then technically I could just put the class and then strip all this stuff out from the class, get the struct from this class, and then get the internal name and current equipped from that potentially, but not the equipped but the rest. But this was a version 1 repurposing from a tutorial I did a long time ago. So that's weapons, right? But we've also got equipped armor. And armor follows a similar sort of thing, where it looks at the class, and if it's in this array of all these, so currently the health watch does work, but I deactivated functionality because I only had a single slot. I couldn't grasp, I couldn't figure out how to split it from equipment and weapon slots, create multiple slots. So that is like 95% done. That is done. And these are just placeholders again. We'll be creating other slots to go with it. And as you can imagine, same as the armor, equipped it, if it's equipped it, if it's armor, equipped it, dump it in here, do all this stuff. Update the armor master, because you're there we go, there's the delta. So that's the when you're getting hit, that's the thing that updates. Sorry, my watch is going off. And the trigger armor delta, that's the delay from when it goes, when that new value defaults back to 0, which helps me do the animation difference. Currently not at the moment, I've currently got it looping on 2, but I can, instead of getting it to loop on 2 goes to that animation 2 plays, I could feed it into this and use the delay. So very much part of a version 1.5 built before 2, built with 1 but not really used properly with 1. So that's equipped armor. Unequipped armor, similar sort of concept. Wipe it, wipe the delta. Equipment slot 2. One thing I did do, we'll just talk about the equipment slots quickly and then we'll wrap it up, because we'll talk about equipment slots in another branch much like here, like September, when I finally do the last bits. Okay. Equipped armor, equipment slot 1. Equipped weapon, equipment slot 1. Equipped armor, equipment slot 2. So let's go into these. So this is the equipment widget. Equipment looks like this. Very basic. I created a process where I won't go into too much detail on that because I talked about event dispatches before. What that's doing is it pulls from the game instance the equipped weapon and the equipped armor and dumps the equipped weapon and armor into this so it can be used, referenced. I don't technically use it at the moment because I was prototyping something, so I wanted to brute force the current weapon and current armor straight from the equips rather than using the game instance. Did used to use the game instance. I can fix it. That's why you see here when I dump it to the game instance, that then gets pulled out through here. Long-winded, but yeah, I did a video on it a while back. I'll probably revisit it. Certainly will when I do a v2 because I massively can improve it. I know I can now. So equipment slot 1, weapons. Equipment slot 2, armor. There will be others. There will be like, I'll space it out so maybe like the weapon is on the left, the armor, chest armor's in the middle, head armor's on the top, accessories on the bottom right, like accessory 1, accessory 2, so like pager, health watch, secondary weapon, all that sort of stuff. Easy peasy now. I've figured out how to do iterative slots. I'd just say slot 3 is only for helmet, slot 3, if you know, and then I do that array class for only these sort of helmets, for example, and then regardless of what slot I drag it into, it always goes into the helmet slot. So I will show you that quickly now. So we've got the armor, a weapon that's dumped into armor, goes into weapon, dump this into weapon, goes into armor. So like that, but for helmets. So just like before, the item class, which is the weapon item class, funnels in, we get the information, we get the text, we get the little image, then we update the slot, tickets weapon. That is not used at the moment, but that will be used in the future for something, can't remember right now. Slot 2, identical, except from it's the armor text, the armor description, so on and so forth, and then it's not a weapon slot. So we click here, and this goes into the universal equipment slot. Updated this bit right here. So this doesn't care whether it's weapon or armor or helmet or whatever. I do pull that boolean through to say whether it's weapon or not to use in the future. But right now, this just goes, okay, fine, whatever it is, just give me the icon. Give me the icon. Done. Job done. And then you like right click it, and that knocks it off, and then it equips it. There we go. If it's a weapon, unequipped weapon. If it's not a weapon, unequipped armor. So when you right click it, this is where I'm talking about. I could easily just turn that back to equipped item now, and then I can just differentiate between armor and weapon class arrays in that singular item. Always the case, isn't it? You figure something out, you do it long-winded way, and then you realise you could refactor it 5 seconds later. So that's knocking it off. So if I just show you knocking it off, easy. There we go. Right click, right click. There we go. This is what the right click does. Knocks it off. What else? What else? I think that's it for the armor. I could have put loads of extra things in, but I wanted to save it for like September slot v2. Trying my best to not delve too off topic. This was needed for armor really. I didn't want to use that single slot. I wanted to crack it, and I cracked it by chance. So that's that. That's the armor. That's its working. That's its color. That's making a secondary slot just for the armor. Everything. I did realise that I've done a bit of a disconnect here because I actually have a struct which logs loads of information, but the struct you cannot change. So when you get damaged, like if I put the armor quality on here and it got damaged, I couldn't update this struct. So I put the values in the blueprint, so then when it gets damaged, technically this blueprint just feeds to the protagonist, gets destroyed, and then the protagonist's armor values get damaged. But this is like the conduit, that it's like an injection of the values into the main character. I think I will still keep the injection, but that is why there's a disconnect here and here. Meanwhile, if you look at the weapons, for example, I very much use pretty much all of these, and I don't really use these sort of values. I use this sort of thing if I'm where things can change. Like the armor is a good example. If I wanted to tweak things on the fly rather than tweaking it in the struct, I should move as much as I should, everything as I can to the struct and use that as like a dictionary. But at the moment, I'm being a bit chop and changey. I forgot, and then I realised when I was looking at this. So next steps. I've nearly finished this one. So Sarah's room doesn't have a bathroom, but it does have a door there, so I need to build it. At the same time, I was like, oh, okay, well, I wanted to create like the shutter functionality, which I've already got for like the lower dorms and the upper dorms. I thought, oh, why don't I make it for Sarah's room, Sarah's bathroom? And then it had 4 sprites of the shutters going down rather than 3, so there's 4 stages. So then I made a 4 stage, and I was like, wait a minute, make a 4 stage, make a 5 stage. Oh, wait a minute, I'll just create a universal, and the universal works wonderfully. I did it like 11 at night last night. This is a separate branch, so I won't go into too much into it. But yeah, I've created a universal switch. I've created a bunch of stuff. I've upgraded a bunch of stuff to version 2. I just need to create Sarah's bathroom and then upgrade the bathroom shutters for Jackie and the protagonist, which is John. I should just decide which one I'm going to do, which one, how I refer to it. Yeah, and I just fix the bug with the armor. Nearly done, a couple of days, I'll do this branch. In terms of going forward, communal bathroom, yeah, we haven't got that at the moment, need to add that in. Normal maps, I've realised I kind of talk about this every time at the end of the vlogs, but I thought it'd be useful. Normal maps, hand draw them rather than using edge normals with a sprite. Communication interaction, yep. So when you talk to them, the heads pop up left, right. Jagged lines 3 when you talk to quest givers, think like that. Game instance v2 massively can overhaul it. I'm stripping out variables, saving them, loading them, putting them back in, when in reality I could just strip out instances of the blueprints that hold the variables, and then essentially I could just strip out a copy of John, the protagonist, and like save a copy, load a copy, rather than going into John, stripping out all these variables, putting them back in. Silly me, but a long time ago, I learned from your mistakes, so that's a big one. 3D levels, yes. Currently there are 2D levels with 2D assets. I'm going to go to 3D levels with 2D assets. It will mean I no longer need to patch together the walls, the floor, the background, like the back wall. It'll just be tidy. It'll look cool as well. I think it'll look like a nice quirky difference, because like I said before, normally it's 3D models, 2D backgrounds, and I'm doing 2D models, 3D backgrounds. I think it'll look cool, or at least 2.5D models. Ambient music, yep, finally start working on music. And then in September, the new one I've added in since last time, equipment slot v2. So we've already got body, we've got weapon. I'm going to create accessory 1 and 2. I'm going to create the head. I'm going to create weapon 2. And that will be ideal to come after this, because rather than me having to create all the, look at this, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. I must have been like crackhead thinking this. Look at that. From, oh, this is a save game object. So this is when I save game to slot. But you see, like pulls all out from the inventory, game instance. Oh, save slot object. So I get the current ones, the information, and I dump it into the save slot object. Save game object, I should say. Everything has saved at the start of it. That's how you know it's the slot. If it's game instance, I've just named it normal variable. If it's variables from anywhere else, they're just called normal variables, not saved at the prefixed. So yeah, like that, like that, like that, like that. Armour, weapons. Remember that event dispatch with the call with the 4 weapon things? That. Oh, is that why it's not working? Let's see. if that's bloody the reason. It's connected. It's connected on the autosave. It's not connected on the slot. It's connected on the load. I don't think that'll be the reason, because it was only disconnected. But we'll try. I'm going to see if when I go to another room it keeps the slots. I don't think it will. Oh. Nah, I don't think, it's never that simple, is it? I've knocked something off in the equipped, the way I feed it. So yeah, all this, instead of that, I'll just get like one blueprint and I'll just create like create a mirror of it, and dump that into the game instance and save object. So that's why that being done first will be a lifesaver, because by the time I get to that, I shouldn't really need to create like a equipped weapon item class 2, for example, equipped armor 2, all this sort of madness, accessory armor, accessory blah 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 1 and 2. So that's where I'm at. Really big breakthrough with armor, figuring out the slots. I cannot describe to you like the ultimate, like, oh my god, because I tried to do it 6 months ago and I was just a brick wall, couldn't understand it. And then I realized the slot is the slot. I just need, it's the widget that needs to, they're both the equipment slots, but the widget controls the information per slot iteration. I think I was trying to change it in the slot here, but this is just like this is like a plug socket. So, it's not interested, it doesn't care, it's just generic. That needed to be done this way, like make it specific at the equipment widget, which then has its own iterations, instances of the slot. I think that's where I was going wrong, but it's easier. It's easy saying it now, but that's where I'm at. Thank you for your time. Expect the next branch to be done in about 2-3 days. I'm going to go chill out for a bit because I did a bunch last night, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.